to another ukulele tutorial. I'm Lara, and today's lesson is on the song Summer Wind. We'll look at 4 ways to play this song, starting with an easy strumming pattern and moving into 3 beautiful finger-picking patterns. Throughout this lesson, you'll find the patterns, chords, and lyrics on screen, and you can also download them as a PDF from my Patreon page. You'll find the link down in the video description. Stick around for a play-along after the tutorial where I'll play through the entire song and you can play along with me. I want to point out that I'm playing a tenor with a low G. If you have a high G on your instrument, you can follow this entire tutorial. Just keep in mind that your patterns will sound slightly different than mine because your 4th string will be 1 octave higher. First, let's take a look at how to play the 5 chords in this song. Our first chord is D. D is the 2nd fret across strings 2, 3, and 4. To play this, I'm using my index finger, middle finger, and ring finger. Our next chord is A7. This is the 1st fret of the 3rd string. Next we have D7. This chord is the 2nd fret of strings 2 and 4, and I'm playing this chord with my ring finger and my index finger. In this song, we transition from D to D7, which is really just a change of lifting up our middle finger. So for D, we have our middle finger down, and for D7, we lift our middle finger up. Next, we have our G chord. G is the 2nd fret of strings 1 and 3, which I'm playing with my middle finger and my index finger, and then it's also the 3rd fret of the 2nd string, which I'm playing with my ring finger. Our final chord is a G minor 6 chord, and in this song, this chord comes after G. The easiest way to transition to G minor 6 is to leave our index finger down and move our middle finger back 1 fret to the 1st fret. If this feels funny, you can also use your index finger on the 1st fret of the 1st string and place down your middle finger on the 2nd fret of the 3rd string. You can try it both ways and see which way is more comfortable to you. All 3 of the verses in this song are played the same way with the exact same chord progression. All 4 of our patterns that we're covering in this lesson consist of 4 beats. So as you're looking at the different chords and different verses, keep in mind that we'll apply our different patterns the same number of times no matter which pattern we're playing. For example, if we're looking at a chord and we apply pattern 1 time to that chord, then we would do the same for patterns 2, 3, and 4 because all of the patterns consist of 4 beats. Now we've come to our first pattern. Here's what this sounds like. Let's take a close look at how to play this pattern and how to apply it to our first verse. Here's the strumming pattern played nice and slow on our D chord. The strumming here is down, down, up, down, down. And the rhythm is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Bringing this pattern up to the tempo of this song will sound like this. Looking at line 1 of the first verse, we're starting on our D chord and we'll play our pattern twice. Then we're moving to our A7 chord and we'll play our pattern twice again. line 2, our A7 chord carries over. We'll play our pattern twice more on A7, and then change back to D and play our pattern 2 more times. So starting on A7, now adding in the lyrics for the first 2 lines. The summer wind came blowing in from across the sea. It lingered there to touch your hair and walk with me. Moving into line 3, we'll play our pattern twice on D7, once on G, once on G minor 6, then moving into line 4, we'll play our pattern once on D, once on A7, and then we go back to D and play our pattern twice. Now I'll sing through lines 3 and 4. All summer long we sang a song and strode that golden sand to Sweetheart's End. The summer wind. Our second pattern consists of triplets. It starts with an arpeggio and then moves into fingerpicking. Here's how it sounds. Let's break this one down, take a close look at it, and also look at how to apply this pattern to our second verse. Here's the second pattern played nice and slow on a D chord. I'm starting with an arpeggio, playing through all 4 strings. Then I'm picking strings 4 down to 1 with my thumb, index finger, middle finger, and ring finger. And then I'm coming back to string 2 with my middle finger. This pattern is made up of 4 triplets, so we'll count it as 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. Adding in the notes, we'll count it as 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. Now taking out the triplets in our counting, just counting from 1 to 4 will sound like this. 1, 2, Looking at our second verse, the chord progression is exactly the same as the first verse. So I'm going to play this pattern and apply it the same way we did our first pattern, as far as the same number of times we'll play the pattern for each chord. I'll play this first instrumental only, and then I'll add in the lyrics. So starting on D. lyrics for verse 2. Like painted kites, those days and nights, they went flying by. The world was new beneath the blue umbrella sky. Then softer than a piper man, one day it called to you. I lost you too. The summer wind. If you're enjoying this lesson, please give this video a like, and thank you so much for subscribing. Now we're moving into our third pattern. This pattern has the same rhythm as our first strumming pattern, but instead of strumming, we're finger picking. Here's how this sounds. Let's take a close look at how to play this one and how to apply it to our third verse. Here's how this one looks, nice and slow. I'm picking strings 1, 2, and 3 with my ring finger, middle finger, and index finger. I'm doing this twice, and then I'm picking string 4 with my thumb, and then I'm going back to strings 1, 2, and 3 twice more. The rhythm of this pattern is 1, 2, 3, 4. Bringing this up to the tempo of this song will sound like this. Now moving into verse 3, we'll apply this pattern to our chords the same number of times we have our other patterns. So first I'm going to play through verse 3, instrumental only, using this third pattern. Now adding in the lyrics to verse 3. The autumn wind and the winter winds, they have come and gone, and still the days, the lonely days, go on and on. Sighs his lullabies through nights that never end. My fickle friend, the summer wind. Now we've come to our final pattern. Similar to our second pattern, this one also consists of triplets. Here's how this one sounds. Let's take a close look at how to play this pattern and how to apply it to our song. Here's our fourth pattern, played at a nice slow tempo on our D chord. I'm starting by playing strings 4 down to 1 with my thumb, index finger, middle finger, and then ring finger. Then I'm going back to string 3 with my index finger, string 2 with my middle finger, and then I'm playing strings 4 down to 1 again. If we count out the rhythm of this pattern in triplets, here's how it sounds. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. Taking the triplets out, here's how it sounds to count just from 1 to 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bringing this pattern up to the tempo of this song will sound like this. We'll apply this fourth pattern to our verses the same way we did our first 3 patterns, so we'll apply it the same number of times to each chord. We'll use verse 1 as an example once I add the lyrics in, but first I'll play through this instrumental only using this fourth pattern. Now adding in the lyrics to verse 1 using this fourth pattern. The summer wind came blowing in from across the sea. It lingered there to touch your hair and walk with me. All summer long we sang a song and strode that golden sand to sweetheart's end. The summer wind. Now we've come to our play along. I'm going to play through the entire song, instrumental only, so you can really hear how I move back and forth, transitioning between the different patterns. The chords and lyrics will be on screen, so you can play along with me, and if you'd like, you can also sing the lyrics. If you'd like to slow down the tempo of the play along, then you can adjust the video speed down in the video settings. 5, 6, 7, 8. hope you've enjoyed learning 4 beautiful ways to play Summer Wind. Have fun practicing, and thank you for watching. The summer wind